Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm kind of tired.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Well, we can just jump right into it then. Welcome to the first episode of our new video series on mutual aid, hosted by me, Sonia from WFPC. Today I'm super excited to be sitting down and talking with Commarrah Bashar, who is a local performance artist and actress, and they're also the founder of the Twin Cities Mutual Aid Fund to support Black, trans, Native, and Two-Spirit artists. What were you kind of up to before COVID-19 started?
I was actually in this really amazing show uh, that was written by Marcella Michelle. She's local, amazing Black trans woman artist, artistic director of 20% Theater Company, one of the directors of Lightning Rod, just fantastic person. And it was this beautiful, like, all trans cast with Yoni Tamang and Kat Purcell, also of Lightning Rod. And we were just working on this really experimental piece about, well, everybody has a different opinion about what it's about, but the sort of the premise of it was Marcella had written this piece about her playing other people, and we were playing her playing other people. And we did a lot of really fun work in terms of like trans collective identity and who is us and who are we when we're together. Who am I? You know, that type of fun, amazing, like deep rolling work. So that's what I was doing artistically, which is not really separate from the next thing I'm going to say, but it kind of is and it isn't. So I also started working with the Minneapolis Arts Commission. I was appointed to the Ward 8 seat, or one of the 3 Ward 8 seats, by Andrea Jenkins. And then I was also on the Transgender Equity Council, appointed to the War 4 seat by Philippe Cunningham. So I was doing some advisory board work for the city. None of what I'm about to say is reflective of the city of Minneapolis or any of the boards and commissions upon which I serve. I have to get used to saying that. You know, I'm on the Public Art Advisory Board, and I started learning things about that and what that means, and seeing really cool art projects come through the city, public art pieces. And I just love the Transgender Equity Council. Like, it's just it's like a good group of people to be working with. And I the things that we were getting ready to do, the things that we are kind of, some of us are still talking about in community we're just like amazing. It was just amazing. So before this, I was surrounded by trans people, which is a privilege and a blessing. And I do deeply miss it and grieve that loss.
Yeah. Yeah. So then what led you to kind of start doing mutual aid work and starting up that fund?
All of this went down, and then all of my work stopped. All of my art work stopped. I couldn't go to rehearsal anymore, obviously, because we can't be within 6 feet of each other. Can't do advisory board and commission work with the city because they stopped that state of emergency. That's what that means. And even if that was still going, I wouldn't really have, I don't think, the mental capacity for it. Just because everything has changed so quickly over the last few weeks. It's very, very difficult to keep up with it. But sort of, I guess, why I started to do it was because I knew that all of my friends and family were going to suffer from this. Like, it's proven across the board, Black trans people and Native trans people especially experience significant hardship, like much more than a cis person would, because they don't necessarily always have the family resources. They definitely don't have the societal resources, and they're very visible, like, giveaways along a spectrum, and the spectrum is kind of a limited word, of like invitation for attack by different people, you know. So I just knew that artists especially were going to be falling through the cracks because a lot of us have to show up physically for our work, whether we're on stage or we're working physically with an art in a studio space. So it just made sense to me. Mutual aid work, I didn't know anything. Honestly, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about solidarity versus charity. I didn't know. Someone actually, about a month before that, someone pegged me as an organizer, and I was like, what does that mean? I had no clue. And then a friend of mine who is also a non-binary person added my spouse and I into this mutual aid group, and we got on this call, and everybody was talking about stuff, you know, that needed to be done, that they were witnessing. People were also processing out loud. Everything started happening really fast, but I just had this really clear vision of, I just knew funding wise who was going to be falling through the cracks, because I've worked with nonprofits. I often say unfortunately, but actually this was to my advantage going into this whole thing. I know who they're not funding. I know who they're not funding and all of the justifications for why they can't fund us, who they're not paying attention to. And I know who government says they center, but I also know that often they can't direct funds towards affinity groups. I mean, actually not often, all the time they can't direct funds. They can't be like, we're gonna give this money to Black people. So I was like, okay, I'm out in the wild. I can raise whatever money I want, however I want, because all these other mutual aid groups are popping up everywhere. So I was just like, all right, like, let's just pick I'm gonna go really specific with it, and no one can stop me because I'm not part of an org and I'm not part of the government. And then it happened. So when I looked at the mutual aid landscape, there were all these like little one-shot funds of $50, $60. Maybe you could apply a couple times. But again, for a trans person who doesn't have like fundamental resources in society to begin with, because of the way that we're valued and because of white supremacy and capitalism, that doesn't mean anything. $50, that's gone in a day. Like, that's been gone. That's gone before it even gets in my pocket. $50, especially for an artist. Again, like all this contract work or lack of contract work. I saw that there were some things you could apply to, but you had to prove that you had contracts. Some of us were in between contracts, or some of us didn't have contracts, because you don't always have a contract. Like, you know, there was some of these qualifications, or it was too little money or whatever. I was like, no. So I was like, let's just give it, let's give legitimate money. We'll be specific, so it'll be like less people apply, like ultra specific. I mean, there's an ongoing genocide against Native people and Black people in this country. And when you get down to trans and when you get down to artists, it's like, wow.
And what has your experience been like the past couple of months, like operating the fund?
Very, very affirming, definitely. It means, I don't even know how, like, I can't even crystallize into words for you how much it means to me to be able to, in a crisis, reach out to all these artists or have them, you know, apply to the fund and just be like, yeah, actually, here's this money for you. It's $2,000. You can go do whatever you want with it, you know? And then just say to a bunch of people with way more resources than I have or they have, give us the money, because it's been due. It's overdue at this point. And we're not going to say thank you, and we're not going to give you an annual report because we don't owe you anything. And just to have people actually listen and do that. So that's incredible, but it's also a little bit heartbreaking, because if it's happening now, it could have been happening. I mean, we've been saying this is what needs to happen. And it frustrates me to no end that it takes a virus like this devastating, tearing through our population, for people to finally realize that this is what needs to happen. Mutual aid work needs to happen. But at least I guess at least it's happening. And the way that it's happening specifically with this fund is in a very real way blowing my mind and then bringing it back together again and helping me find myself. I've been able to do a lot of things. I would see at a VIP level, I would see at an executive leadership level, I would see at a C level, that I've never been given the opportunity to do. And I literally created the circumstances for developing my own leadership and executing my own leadership in weeks in a crisis. So in terms of limitations that have been put on me by institutions and on myself, that's also been really educational. They have been blown apart. I really don't know what I'm going to do after this, because I can't go back to being an administrative assistant or, you know, a part-time whatever if I do go back to like part-time work in an office. And I just like, yeah, so that's that's a big question mark. Like, what do you even do after this? But yeah, mostly it's been humbling. It's been beautiful. I've been connecting with a lot of people I didn't even know before. It is a small community, but you know, I honestly like haven't been out very long. as trans for like a million and one reasons that, you know, we could go into on a different call. But yeah, I just feel really surprised and really truly blessed and humbled that I could do something like this. Because I don't know if I thought that I could. I think I always told people that I could do something like this, like be in charge of something this big and this impactful. I think I always kind of said it, but I haven't been given the opportunity, and I don't think I truly believed in myself because I haven't been given that opportunity. But now I have, so.
What have been like some of the challenges that you've faced?
You know, the thing about solidarity is like it's an dismissal of like you can't do it alone. And I essentially, there's a person who stepped up, actually a group who stepped up, Logistics Collective. They happened to be on a call that I was on, and they were like, hey, you know, we're worried about you and all the other people doing these mutual aid funds because there's a chance that you all could get in trouble after this. And the last thing someone like you, like a Black trans person, needs is to get in trouble by the government after helping all of your people. So we'll hold on to the fund. It's all of your money. You get to decide what to do with it, obviously, but we'll hold on to the financial aspects of it for you so that in case anything legal has to happen after this, which obviously this is gonna result in a lot of policy changes and a lot of questions about funding across the board, but especially legally and legislatively maybe. They were just like, we're your cover, so you don't have to worry about it. They even appointed a cishet white dude to kind of take the fall if we get in trouble for money laundering, which I think is funny. So very supportive group here, providing the infrastructure in terms of like where the money goes. And then the artists apply and I get to pick them. So it's just really, initially it's been a 2-person team, but by 2-person team, I mean, they're definitely managing the funds and the person who's on top of that. And I would name them, but they've asked not to be named, and I will respect them, but give them a shout out because they're amazing. They're working on that, and they're also working on everything else that's happening in their life, right? We're experiencing this crisis as we're responding to it. And then I'm doing like the artist bios, I'm doing the outreach, I'm doing the social media, I'm doing looking at these applications, like making sure the artists get the money actually, and then when they do get it, I'm like following up with confirmations, making sure I'm getting these photos for these bios that I'm publishing. I was thanking donors for a little bit, but then I was like, there's no executive director here. I don't need to thank you all until this is over, and I really don't actually need to thank you. I'm going to, because I'm grateful, and because to me, I like just need to, and I love doing that. But you know, it's a learning process. There are things that you can do by yourself, and you know, I can do radically because I'm not attached to any organization, and I don't have a team that I have to answer to or a government that I have to answer to right now. But it's a limitation in that, like, really, it's hard to do this alone. And I have since reached out for help and found some like really responsive people who are coming on board to help me, just like other amazing trans organizers, other amazing cis queer organizers, just people have been just stepping up to like take some of this off me, especially because now it's Ramadan. So in addition to experiencing a crisis, responding to a crisis, now having as many resources as I need, not even having an income myself, because I can't take any of this money. So I've just been like, again, C-level leadership, just been doing it totally free, just because it is what I believe in, and I don't care if I know the universe will take care of me, so I'm just like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna do this, and I'll let the universe just kind of provide. But yeah, like some people have stepped up to help me with it, and now I've got a couple other people looking at the applications and doing social media. So I'd say like, yeah, it's been tough, and it's been very illuminating. And I'm very like again, like honored and proud and humbled that like people actually believe in this and people actually believe in me.
So how can like other people help support your fund and just like the broader vision?
You know, something cool that I found with another like cis white but queer artist, local, her name's Kava, she's amazing. We did this thing where she just wanted to match. She was like, let me match. And because I'm wild and queer and creative, I was like, instead of just matching, why don't we do like some artist thing? I noticed that you've been doing this Hamza thing in your art. And because you're Jewish, this is a sacred symbol to you, but this is, because I'm Muslim, this is sacred to me. And I feel like there's a lot to be talked around about or talked about around, especially right now, matching and what does that mean to match and what is solidarity. You know, I don't have that, these things that I wouldn't get to do or ask if I was a gift officer at a nonprofit again, like, or working in finance in the city or whatever, like, or grants. I just these fun things that I get to do. So we created like this artistic like concept and release around photo release around like matching and like creating these hamzas on our faces, and that really generated a lot of interest and fun. So I would say if anybody is interested in artistically maybe collaborating with me, that would be cool. If you wanted to do like a match like that, if you wanted to do something artistic yourself and raise funds for this fund, that would also be cool. If you want to talk to me about an employment opportunity or slap me some cash, that is also cool. There's just a lot of ways you can come alongside and support this. Definitely would love more trans people out there, like at local, if they want to hop in and like just give feedback or even just surround me with that very specific love that only can come from community. I would love that. And if cis people happen to know any trans people that for some reason can't access like that this fund is out there, because I unfortunately, like, again, there's only so much you can do alone, and I haven't been able to push it everywhere I need to push it. How can specifically white cishet people support? Please spread it out to your networks. Please donate. Please redistribute that stimulus money that I know you're getting. Definitely if you have any, because I'm just by myself, so I don't have a social media team, and so that kind of thing of utilizing the network is absolutely critical. If you know any more Black trans artists, especially Black trans women, because I'm trying to prioritize them, please have them apply or have them reach out to me honestly directly. Because I'm just, again, like, I'm not really truly interested in doing this sort of all the way like an institution would do it anyway. There are some things I have to keep in there, like kind of like motivation wise and administratively for myself to keep going, but I just, it's personal, because this is about like this is my identity. Like, I don't have to hide behind the face of an institution and pretend like everything is neutral. Like, I get to be like, I'm a Black trans artist and this is important to me and this is deeply personal. So if you're having trouble with the form and or you just want to talk to somebody, you can direct people to just come, like, email me directly and we can talk about it. So yeah, and if you're trans, but you're not Native or Black, you can or not just non-cis, that too, we're working on a terminology here. If you're non-cis and you want to contribute, you want to like help out, contact me. I'd love to have a conversation. You can go to my website, which is commarrah.com, and I don't have any footage of anything up, I don't think, but I do, yeah, I don't have anything on my website. You can go to my YouTube for that, at Coco Bash. COCOABASH. But on my website, there's a lot of beautiful poetry that I've written. So if you're into extremely trans poetry, that's where you're going to find it.
Amazing. Well, thank you again so much, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Stay healthy.
You
Bye.
as well. Bye.